How to win with buyers. Agents across the country ask me all the time, how can I make my buyer process better? How can I deliver an exceptional level of customer service? How can I make sure that I'm not running around like a chicken with my head cut off and having just, these crazy schedules and going, all over the state trying to show a buyer 55 properties. I get questions all the time going, Brendan, how do you work with buyers and win and make it successful for them and you? That's what we really want, is a win-win situation here. So in this video, I'm going to take you through the 5 steps to win with buyers. Now, I've been doing this. I've sold over $1 billion of residential real estate. I've worked with every kind of buyer. Here's what I hear all the time. Brendan, you don't understand. My buyer's unique. You don't understand. You don't understand. Listen, I understand. Okay, I've worked with every type of crazy buyer, super nice buyer, demanding buyer, unrealistic buyer, everything. And here's what I know is you have to have your system dialed in to do this process. This whole real estate game is all about time. You get paid for your time. And if you let them control it, you're screwed. All right, so I'm going to teach you the exact process that I've utilized, that I developed over the last 20 years and really refined to make it as easy as possible for everyone out there. Feel free, if you want any of our additional information, go to brendanbardick.com, download our script book, use everything that we have. So let's jump in. So step 1, laying the groundwork. So to work with buyers effectively, first of all, you need to have what we call our buyer trust qualifier. And with our buyer lead trust qualifier, what we have is you can go to our coaching page, Brendan Bardick Real Estate Coaching, engage us there. All those files are there for you for free, for you to just check out and use. But it's I don't want to say it's a script, it's a number of questions that make sure that I'm, of course, building rapport with my new buyer that I'm going to work with. Number 2, that I'm getting all the information I'm going to need to work with them, of course. And number 3, that I'm going to be setting a standard of how I operate. So I have these set out for, right in my workstation area, always available so I can grab one so when that call comes. Now, you're going to want to practice this a lot because, as we know, we take calls in our car, we take calls everywhere. But have it taped up at your desk. Have them setting available so you can easily access them, but eventually you'll internalize. We have role play practice every Thursday, Mountain Standard Time, every Tuesday. Join us. We'll practice all of these techniques with. Okay? So establishes rapport, identifies their goal, and then sets the initial expectation. That's what we're trying to do here. Okay? So we got to lay the groundwork. So number 2, pre-appointment checklist, or what we call your PAC, right? Pre-appointment checklist. See what we did there? Pretty fun. All right. So here's the things I'm going to need to have my buyer consultation or to go meet my buyer. Now, people don't live by your office. We cover a massive area of territory, so they can't always come there. Here's my golden rule. If it makes logical sense, do it. But you're not going to want to have somebody drive 45 minutes to your office so you can give a 30-minute buyer presentation and then get your buyer agency agreement signed. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying try to make it convenient for the client and make it logical for you. Okay. So I will either do their home, wherever they're located. If it's a rental, great. If it's an apartment, great. I'd prefer that because they're more comfortable. It's easier for them. And then we can start talking about it. Second would be a neutral spot, a Starbucks or a local place where it's going to be quiet enough for you to explain to them this process and show them some information. So you're going to need a table and things like that. So we got to make sure that we have that. So I'm going to need my iPad or my laptop, of course, to be able to do this. I have a logoed pen and paper. I have a folder package, which we call our buyer consultation package. With our coaching program, Elite Progression Series, we give all of this to you. All you have to do is basically just switch your face and logo and phone number, of course, right? Contact information. I have our home buyer plan of action. So this takes them through the entire process. Again, if you don't want to go create this, use ours. Property search website or MLS. So I have that up. So my thing is I only want buyers working on my website. I see so many agents out there using the MLS for your buyers to search property. Here's the problem with that. 2 things is, number 1, you want your website to be that one-stop real estate resource shop for all of your clients. You can't do that if you're sending them somewhere else. Then the MLS is getting the search engine optimization from everyone clicking on all the properties on that website. You want that search engine optimization. And if you don't understand what I'm saying is like you want Google to recognize you as the resource for real estate. And when you have a bunch of buyers clicking on your site looking at properties, Google goes, ooh, you're important, you're important, you're important, which brings you up in the rankings, okay? This is very important. This is one of those things that I talk to, if I can't get a true statistic on this, but I truly believe only about 10 to 15% of all real estate professionals have a website that has an IDX function where people are using their site. I always hear, well, Brendan, it's not set up right, I'm not proud of it, I'm not this, then fix it. Take a Sunday afternoon and go to work, a night, whatever it is. You have the time, believe me, you just don't have sometimes the desire. You gotta get your website right, okay? So property search website, completed buyer trust qualifier and buyer agency agreement already completed. Now, I know this varies state to state, and I know we have people watching from different countries as well, but basically an agreement between myself and the buyer that they're going to work with me for a period of time, preferably 6 months to 12 months, depending upon the type of buyer and the type of property purchase it's going to be, and that we're going to have this agreement. And again, you know, if you don't know how to do a buyer agency agreement, then you need to go talk to your managing broker. That's not what I'm here to teach because, again, that's different in area to area. But I want an agreement that secures me and my commission, that I'm going to go work all my little heart out to help you get exactly what you want. And for that, I'm going to be compensated so I don't get screwed. So set the stage. So next thing, we want to secure the location of the appointment. So we talked about this, your office, their home, at the first property. Now, we didn't talk about number 3 yet, right? So at the first property, I will meet buyers at the first property all the time, okay? It's not my preferred, it's not where I'd prefer to do it, but I will do this. And when I do it, usually when I'm there, I bring everything. And if you're only looking at one property, I bring them in or outside and I'd say, look, before we go in to take a look at this property, my brokerage requires that we have an agreement in place that when I show you this property and help you represent you and buy this property, you're going to be protected and I'm going to be protected throughout this entire process. So this is a buyer agency agreement that just explains that process and go into it. If I'm showing them multiple properties, I'll usually show them the first property and then I'll go, I'm so glad that we were able to see this property. Now, before I go show you the other 3 or 4, and if you don't want to say my brokerage requires, you can just say I require. I'm just telling you what I've said. I can't teach you any other way, but I've used it and I've gotten, I maybe once had somebody have concern about wanting to move forward. And you're always going to get those people that are hyper analytic. And then I just sat down, if again at the house or wherever, or I took them into the kitchen and I just went through and explained it to them. If they decided not to sign, I do not show them any additional property. That's it. You have to have standards. I'd just be like, well, then I'm sorry. I'm glad you were able to see this one. If we're not going to be able to work together, then I wish you the best of luck and have a great day. That's it. So make sure we don't leave without the signed agency agreement. Super critical to protect you. All right. Pro tips, buyer consultation. So start with the finish line in mind with your consultation. The goal is to provide value, set the standards, explain to them your process, and then make sure that you're going to review your affirmations. So if I'm having a buyer consult or I'm going to meet a buyer's going to love me. They're going to sign my buyer agency, and this is going to be a very fun and very fun transaction for all parties. Sounds stupid? It's not. It works. I do it all the time. You have no idea the power of you telling yourself how you want the outcome to be instead of, oh, I could tell on the phone that this guy was a little weird, and oh my gosh, this is going to be a nightmare. Oh, and he wants to see this house in this part of town, and oh, I hate this part of town, and oh, the traffic. And you start going into this and you wonder why when you meet people, they're like, I don't want to sign no agreement. You can't see it, but you're bringing this vibe of negativity because you're just not mentally prepared correctly for what you're about to go into. Depending on where you're at, make a good impression. You show up and I know you go, well, you don't understand where I live. You don't understand where I live. I know 2 things on this planet.